The following presentation is for mature audiences only.
Who are you?
He's a fine man.
All hell is broken loose.
He's a great broadcaster.
He's a very powerful guy. Absolutely brilliant.
Feared by men, adored by women.
He's a smart boy.
It's patriotic.
It's no big deal.
It's the end of the world.
I might as well tell you now. He's a monkey.
Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome into another edition of The Wyldeside with Eric Clark. I am your host, Eric Clark, saying thank you for taking time out of your busy day being awesome to give my little video a watch and a listen. If you like it, like it. If you think other people are going to dig it, give it a share. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, following on all the social media, and if you want, become a Patreon. Everything is linked down below. And don't forget, every Wednesday at 11 a.m., Saturdays 2 p.m., we are live streaming from the east side of Music City. All you got to do to hang out, 2 hours, fun and frivolity with the best darn subscribers in the world, is log on and click that notification button. That way you get notified when we go live and you can join in on the craziness and fun that is the chat during the live stream. We talk about everything. I tell stories from my 30-plus years in radio. They ask me questions. I give opinions. Sometimes I go off on little rants. It's just 2 hours of fun and frivolity every Wednesday at 11 a.m., Saturdays at 2 p.m. Central Time here in the U.S. Before we get started in today's video, I do want to say thank you to Connect 200 Music to See and Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. Today's video is coming from our Patreon member, Marika, and she said, hey, do me a favor and check out the Devin Townsend project live at Royal Albert Hall. It's been a minute since I've watched and checked out a Devin Townsend project video, but I'm super excited because I always go on really cool journeys when I listen to his music. So today we are checking out the track Deadhead live Royal Albert Hall. It is the Devin Townsend project here on the Wyldeside. Let's check it out.
for sure. You feel like it at any point, though, you know. Pick a tempo.
You know, man, what I really dig about Devin Townsend is that, make no mistake, this is an artist. You know, he's really established himself, for me anyway, as yes, he's a musician, yes, he writes songs, and yes, he creates music, but this dude is an artist. That's a 9-minute song that feels like 9 minutes, that doesn't feel like a 9-minute song. It's perfect exploration, progressive metal is what that is. Just really good ebb and flow there, especially considering how tuned down the overall mood of the song is. So Deadhead, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, again, I'm not as educated on Devin Townsend as the rest of you, so correct me if I'm wrong, which I probably am. Deadheading is when a pilot of an airline gets a ride on another pilot's aircraft to get to where he needs to go so that he can fly an airplane somewhere else. It's called deadheading. And when he said it's a love song, and I start listening to what he's saying, and you start to feel. Another good thing about Devin is that he's so good at his control, his vocal control, that what would normally be a screech becomes a guttural, emotional scream, because he's so good at controlling that danger zone. The danger zone is your throat. For those of you that don't work in vocals, anyone will tell you don't use your throat. All right, it's just the danger zone. It's bad. It creates a rattle in your overall tone, and you don't want to do that. So a lot of times singers will get caught in that danger zone because they're trying to force it. And what I like about Devin is he's not forcing the note. He's forcing the emotion. And that's where the control steps in. And that's what makes him so good at that control, because his harmonies create that really cool, bright texture that is dichotomous to what the drums and the bass are creating. So the drums and the bass, very cool drums, by the way. Whoever that guy is, very good drumming. Super subtle. The rolls and the fills are there, but you don't really hear them as much as you feel them. And then you kind of realize afterward what was done. And you're like, oh, that was cool. Oh, that was innovative. Oh, that was sneaky. Very good drumming, while also, and that's what makes it subtly cool, is that he's doing these cool little things while also creating the foundation of the track itself. So while he is building that really stout foundation of the track, the tone, the tempo, the tenor, if you will, of the song, he's also making the changes through these subtle, cool movements and creations within the track itself. And the bass player is just creating this really cool groove. The keyboards are weaving the bright colors, the earth colors, in and out of that drum kit that's creating those darker foundations. And then Devin himself is harmonizing with that guitar by allowing his vocals to ebb and flow throughout that color spectrum of creating those foundational colors while also creating those brighter, life-breathable colors that his vocals are doing when he's a little bit more demure in the delivery. But then he'll go into those really forced, really hard, really strained episodes of the song, and where everyone else will fail in that endeavor. Very few singers have that control. It's very few, and it always impresses me. And he's such an artist with those vocals as well, because your predictive AI in your brain is saying, okay, vocals are supposed to go like this in a song like that. They're supposed to have that Deftones vibe, that Killing Joke kind of vibe going on. So you're expecting this certain particular ebb and flow that you have been trained to have in your head, the musical predictive AI. And what Devin does is he will eschew that tradition and allow his vocals to go in a very exploratory journey within those lyrics. And it creates this greater, heavier, thicker, richer texture within those tones because he's so good at controlling it. So if he wasn't able to control that, you would have a mess on your hands. But when you're able to control it and create those tones the way that he does, harmonize with that really good, thick, rich, traditional sound that the guitar player's coming out, that really good industrial progressive, whining, almost a yearning coming through your guitar, that ball peen hammer on your heart, kind of a vibe. Really well done with harmonizing with that. So musically, creatively, again, it's a 9-minute song that doesn't feel like 9 minutes, but it's a 9-minute song. Like, it's a 9-minute track. You're tired at the end. You've allowed yourself, I wrote down perfect escapism. And that's what his songs really are. It reminds me of, and again, I'm not comparing, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying my brain goes places. It reminds me of a track by Jane's Addiction called 3 Days, where it begins in a certain texture. It begins in a certain way. And then through subtle changes in control and layering, it becomes it metamorphs into this massive, hammering, imposing weight on your senses. And that's what this track does. it ebbs and flows just perfectly, and it allows you to breathe. And that's what makes a song really good. And that's what makes an artist like Devin Townsend so particularly brilliant, is that he understands how to create those layers of ebb and flow to keep you on that journey that he wants to take you on. So very well done. Thank you very much to Patreon member Marika for giving us that suggestion today, the Devin Townsend project, Deadhead. And I'm not saying I get the metaphor, but for me anyway, what I took away from Deadhead, and he said it's a love song, I thought about that concept. And this is just my brain thinking here. Love is what he said it is, because a lot of times you're just on for the ride, aren't you? Right? And that can be frustrating when you turn your heart over to someone and you also turn over the control of the airplane. You turn over the control of everything to someone else, and you're just deadheading. You feel like, okay, I'm deadheading in this relationship here, and that's when it can. Anyway, so, but everybody's going to take their own thing from what the song is saying. So that's just my take from it, is that, it's absolutely true, dude. You turn yourself over completely. That's love. That's true love, is that you turn yourself over to them completely. You trust them. You feel secure in them. You sit and you buckle your belt and you're like, hey man, just get me where I need to be. So I get that, man. It's very well done. And again, you can call him a musician, you can call him a band, you can call him whatever. The dude's an artist. He's an absolute artist. He creates really cool works of art. So thank you, Marika, Patreon member, for giving us that suggestion today. Devin Townsend Project, live, Royal Albert Hall, Deadhead. Again, if you have a suggestion, everything is linked down below. Make sure you're linked up with me through all the social media, Patreon, YouTube, whatever it is you got to do. Thank you very much to Connect 200 Music to See and Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. Thank you to all of you for taking time out of your busy day being awesome to watch my video. Make sure you're looking out for each other. Make sure you're looking out for your neighbor. Try to do at least one good thing a day. I am Eric Clark, and this has been The Wild Side.